Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call here on CNBC TV18. Well, let's analyze some of the stocks that we just discussed. And to help us out with that, we have Amisha Vora, Chairman, as well as Managing Director at Prabhudas Lilladher, who joins us. Hi, Amisha. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, we are towards the end of earnings season. So let's focus on a couple of earnings that we got overnight. Godrej Consumer, the headline number didn't look too great. I mean, it was more or less in line, but the internals were rather strong. Your view on the pack as well as Godrej Consumer in particular?
See, the numbers did reflect that the categories that they are in, they are really investing well. And above all, they recently acquired from Raymond some of the brands. And I think within their network, these brands will grow quite well. So while they have paid quite a lot of cash, I feel that the new categories in medium term will bring a lot of growth. So I continue to remain positively biased on the stock.
Okay, continue to remain positively biased on the stock. Amisha, hi, good morning, and thanks for being with us. You know, one takeaway from this quarter's earnings is that a lot of platform companies have either turned around or improved their performance, right? Whether it's PB Fintech, Zomato, Paytm has been operationally profitable for 3 quarters now, and even something like a delivery. Would you buy any of these names?
So we were expecting, after the real collapse which happened in their valuations post-listing, and the fact that at those valuations raising capital also would be a bit of a question, that most of these companies will look internally, start re-evaluating their growth and profitability metrics. And we're starting to see the initial signs of turnaround. And markets have also given a thumbs up from the bottom that the stock had traded. But we will have to trade cautiously in picking and choosing the stocks which are having a real distinction. So if you ask me, PB Fintech and Zomato both are having a very large market share within their space. And because of which, I think that at some point in their journey, they will become very dominant and also profitable. So yes, a bottom fishing plus some place in the portfolio is a must.
Amisha, hi, good morning. Prashant here. Good to have you with us in the program. 2 names, one is Britannia, where there was, I think, an all-round miss. Stock did fall yesterday. So any thoughts on that one? And then I don't know if you have coverage on rate gain. It reported numbers in the last final hour of trade yesterday, and numbers seem to be very strong. We, by the way, have the management coming up a little later on the program. Go on, Amisha.
So Britannia in particular, will continue to have a little bit of pressure on margins, all because of wheat prices, milk prices, sugar prices. But having said that, I still believe that the penetration of Britannia biscuits still in the large heartlands of India, which is North and Bihar, is limited, and their continuous focus on expanding distribution there, plus value-added products, with a little consolidation in stock price for the short term, it will still be a good bet for the medium term. Coming to the second rate gain, I think that, right now we don't have a coverage, but it's a very solid business model. And when we were under active coverage, we were very, very bullish on the stock.
Okay, all right. Amisha, we'll be joined by a real estate company in just a bit. But for the time being, just want to focus on the pharma space. That's been a sector that really went through a big phase of consolidation. Not much move out there. However, the last few months have belonged to these pharma companies. Numbers are looking up. Maybe the worst of price erosion is behind them. And we have a couple of companies, Gland Pharma, Torrent Pharma, both of them came out with a set of numbers. What's your view on any of these names, and how do you approach the pharma space from here on?
Both are very different businesses. For example, Torrent is a fully domestic, largely domestic focused business. And if you see, they have benefited a lot because, as we understand, the API prices have started softening, with China coming back to conquer the volume growth. So the prices have started easing. At the same time, a lot of freight have 1/3, costs have become 1/3. So gross margin of most of the pharma companies have started growing. apart from that, so Torrent Pharma actually benefited from that, and we continue to remain positive, and we have upgraded our target. But beyond that, the larger pharma story is around two things, particularly in US. That US market went through a very rough patch in generic business. As we stand in last quarter or so, some of the large generic players are probably likely to wind down. That is helping slightly inching up the pricing. And of course, the freight and API prices are also benefiting them. Once again, for example, a player like Sun Pharma, whom we like, is a very specialty basket that they have, and they are doing very well. Dr. Reddy's and Lupin have some one-offs permissions for their medicines, which has given them a big fillip and likely to continue till 25. So on the whole, the overall weightage on pharma, which had gone down substantially in last 4 years, is stabilizing, and so also the numbers which are coming back from the bottom. I think this trend will continue.
Trend will continue. If I remember correctly, this is a space that you have liked for a while, the pharma space, and now, of course, it's given great returns to investors as well.
Amisha Vora is still with us. Amisha, any thoughts? Kolte Patil or any other real estate stocks you like?
So Kolte Patil as a stock has done very well, and as a management also over the years I've been observing they do a very good work. And now is the time when, pre-sales have started generating a lot of cash, and the whole business model has become very viable again. One of the other stocks that is not much in limelight, but I think we should do really well, is Suntech. We recently had an interaction, and we think that they're also set for a very good strategy, as well as the pre-sales and numbers will do very well.
Let's get back to the conversation we are having with Amisha Vora. Amisha, last week, yet another big cement deal was announced, between Ambuja Cements as well as Sanghi Industries. In the last few days, those stocks, Sanghi has been doing well, but a couple of these smaller names like Orient Cement, I think in the last 1 week, it's up 25%. Seems like a bit of a valuation catch-up out there. How would you approach the cement pack? Would you stick to the large names, or do you believe some of these mid-small cap companies present more value?
So the first thing broadly about the sector, the cost pressure that the sector was facing, I think are really abating. So across the board, one would see that the margins will have a tick going up in the quarters to come. Also, the demand continues to remain reasonably strong, and it is a slightly largely domestic-oriented sector, unlike metals. So they are insulated. So I think the view on the sector is positive, and we will continue to see both volume and margin growth. And selectively, depending on, frankly, whether a mid-cap play or a large-cap play would more depend on whether you are a large mutual fund buyer or you are an individual buyer. There will be pick and choose. But the sector outlook is looking positive to me.
Okay, all right, Amisha. Thanks a lot for joining us, and appreciate your time here on CNBC TV 18.